All right. Now, let's check something else out. Wait a second. Tools over here. Tools over here. No tools. Spare parts over there. Anyways. Here, we have what's called ballast. Now, ballast, I've been asked several times, why are they called ballast? I have no idea why they're called ballast. The only thing I could ever come up with is they're just heavy, all right? So that's got to be, in my opinion, why they're called ballast. It's actually a type of transformer that brings one voltage to another voltage, which allows us to run our fluorescent lights. This is the older style ballast. It's actually called a magnetic ballast. It takes electricity in, uses a transformer style connection, and brings it back out to operate a light. These have 60 cycle hums. The bulbs don't last quite as long. This is actually a newer style ballast, which isn't really as heavy. It's mostly just an empty tin box with a little bit of electronics inside of it. They've replaced this heavy item here with this little pile of electronics. And most of it's just due to weight. Once again, we have... Uh-oh. Where'd it go? I lost my safety clip. No, I didn't. All right. In order to be able to take the wires out, once again, you have to have a little release clip. This particular clip slips in and allows the wires to be able to come loose. And we get rid of them. Over here, we have exactly the same process. We can take the wires, and by putting them in here, slipping it into that little hole right there, we can then take and remove the wire from its connection. This is simply a flat piece of metal with an insulator around it so you don't get yourself hurt. And it's actually designed for this purpose. But you can actually take the other end of a wire and you can slip it in there and get that to release. And you end up here with your new ballast. And these aren't heavy, so I don't know how they can get away with calling them ballast other than it's just traditional. So, once again, we've got to be able to get into this to see how it works. There are some rivets along the side of this that need to be loosened up. And what I'm doing with this is I'm just getting the rivets to actually let go so I can get into the electronics package of what's inside of the unit here. I come in, and the big, heavy ballast, this unit over here, actually been replaced with this here. All right? It is more efficient with electricity. It doesn't flicker. It makes the bulbs last longer, and apparently it's less expensive to produce. This is nothing but electronics. If you take the time and look in here, you'll see a bunch of very small transformers. The transformers go through chips, and what you're having happen... All right, we're going to change scenes for a second. The chalkboard. I like chalkboards. What you have is you have an AC current that comes in. It passes into what's known as a bridge rectifier diode assembly. You come in to a bridge rectifier like so. Oh, let me think. Power goes this way, shuts off, goes this way, goes this way. Hope I'm drawing this correct. The AC current, what you have is the AC current is going back and forth, up and down. As it comes in, it's either going this way or this way, and it's coming out here as DC current. So at this point, you're actually starting over here at 120 volts, and that's AC. And because that's RMS and not peak voltage, you actually end up with 170 volts DC over here, direct current. Then what they're doing is they're taking this in, they're passing it into the transistor. The transistor is hooked up as a very fast switch to a piece of electronics out here somewhere. It then brings it back in and passes it through a very small transformer. And then that transformer there is what goes out and actually feeds your light through another set of diodes and another set of packages. So all this electronics is what allows the ballast to actually run your light. And because of all this, this actually produces better light. It's a fascinating little system. Once again, you need to take the time to take these apart, see how they work, check them out. This one, there's little clips here. These clips hold, come on, let's go, let's go. Hold the transistors against the side of the case. The case is acting as a heat sink to cool off the transistors. Come on, there's got this. So what else is holding? Oh, there we go. Oh, 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 almost got it, almost got it, almost got it. Ah. Hold all this. Oh, 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 oh. There's actually a screw holding this together. Where are we at? Right here. And this screw right now is the only thing which is holding this unit in. And you're into, once again, a pile of electronics to run a fluorescent light bulb. Electronics is becoming more efficient than ballast. And it works. They actually use less power. Apparently, like I said, they're less expensive to make. Once again, storage! All right. We have, what else would be interesting to take a look at? Yeah, more cleanup. Dun, 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 dun. Oh. Something very simple. Tape measure. This one, back a while ago, I managed to step on it and put a little kink in it, and it's been torturing me for a long time, so I get to torture it. This particular part is just about short of breaking here. Once again, there's the part that actually busted, so it's not going all the way together. But since this is dead, if you've never taken one of these apart, you need to know how they work. All right? Fascinating tools. Now, this has a spring in it. You have to think about what you're taking apart and what may or may not happen when you take it apart. So you don't just willy-nilly take them apart all the time without going, oh, good grief, oh, good grief, good grief. All right, now, I am not going to just lift the case off of this thing because, to be honest with you, it'll be explosive. I want you to kind of get ready for this. I'm going to send this towards my junk pile, all right? And my junk pile, it will explode over there, out of the way, and then we can examine what actually makes the tape measure work. Are we ready? Over there. All right? We have the guts of a tape measure right here. That is the safest way you could ever take one of these apart. All right? Like I said, there's a spring in here. You want this as far away from you as you can get it when you bust it open. If you were nuts, you could spend a little bit of time and try to put this thing back together again. So this is how a tape measure works. This here spring pulls on this bobbin and pulls this whole big yellow nightmare back into the case over here. All of it, all of this fit inside of this. This is, there's a day that pulling a tape measure on a box this size and making it go 25, 30 feet out in a straight line, you would have been considered a magician. All right, we take it for granted nowadays. Or trash. I hope you've kind of got an idea that it's all right to take things apart. If you have something at your house which has actually given up its usefulness, take it apart, see how it works, and go from there. Hope this has been fun. I've enjoyed it tremendously. Good day.